So I would like to tap a question on that to Scott. So Scott, I'm sure you've seen hundreds of startups which have been going through these phases and the challenges which we just discussed and the answers which Travis and Zefang has have shared with us. So over the years. What do you think? I mean, what exactly should be the correct approach to seek a right company valuation as well as gain the right amount of investment? Your perspective being an angel investor as well as a serial entrepreneur, that is one. And second question, has there been any change in your perspective because of the current pandemic situation which we are having in place? So would that change how you look at startups before investing? If you could please share your thoughts. Thanks.
Sure. How much time do you have? Might have to write another book. Good question. Yeah, valuation and the amount raised is always difficult. A lot of the answer for that depends on the stage of the startup. If you're a Series C stage startup, for example, you have significant revenue already, it's much easier to develop a valuation based on your existing revenues and growth to date, that sort of thing. And of course, based on the amount of previous capital you've raised and the dilution that additional capital would add to the founders and the current shareholders. Where it's really challenging, and I think what you're driving at, and where I spend most of my time also, is with the early stage startups, seed stage startups, where they may not have much or any revenue. They mostly may have an idea or a proof of concept sort of developed. And without revenue, it's hard to forecast anything, right? So there's not an easy answer to this. There's a number of different theories out there that anybody could Google. A good one is Dave
Sure.
Berkus, Berkonomics, who has theories about this that you can find online. That's Berkus. And there are many others based on the multiples of revenue or multiples of profit or et cetera, et cetera. What it boils down to, though, I think is most early stage startups, at least in the software world where I work, I'm not talking about automobiles or hardware or biotech, things I know less about, but at least in the software world, most early stage startups are valued, say, between $2 and $4 million when they get started. And you work backwards in partnership with your first investors to figure out what an appropriate amount is for them to receive in terms of ownership relative to what they're putting in and what you're putting in. And there's no, unfortunately, there's no known calculation, no established Pythagorean theorem sort of thing where you can just say A plus B equals C. It's a negotiation every time, as it should be. And you need to look at the growth forecasts, and this is where entrepreneurs and investors often bump heads, because of course the entrepreneur thinks they're going to take over the world in 6 weeks, and the investors generally have a little more experience and are concerned that it may take a little longer than 6 weeks, and it may take a lot more capital than they forecast. So a longer discussion is necessary. This is one of the things I should mention, by the way. The books are something I've done for a long time. What I do these days is I run monthly workshops on this kind of stuff. So masterminds, I run masterminds workshops, mastermind startup accelerator workshops, and these are easy to find online. You can look at mastermindsworkshops.com if you'd like, or just Google it, it'll come up. And this segues into your pandemic question. These used to be just local here in Southern California, face-to-face, but now they're, like everything else, like this panel, they're virtual online. So every month we do this, and I get entrepreneurs from all over the world, and we talk through things like this in a helpful, friendly environment. So if that sounds interesting to anyone listening, we'd be happy to meet you and help you. So the pandemic has forced that. To the second part of your question, yes, the pandemic's forced us all online. I don't want to take up too much time, but it was a good question. Really, investors are looking at sustainability. A year ago, everyone was scared to death, and so everybody pulled back. But then there emerged some clear winners that showed that life was going to go on. The very tools we're using right now with Zoom, right? I mean, this is magic, right? Our grandparents would have been shocked, right? And now
True.
it's a fact of daily life. So it's up to all of us to find those winners in the storm. And what a lot of us investors are trying to figure out, there's always debates about when the economies will reopen, or how much people will go back to work or work remotely. But the fundamental business needs haven't changed that much, and that's what all of us are looking at is long-term opportunities. All the companies and opportunities that hit us as investors last year around personal protective wear, or vaccine this, or administration systems and stuff, those are tended to be quick hits, and that's not what most, at least venture type investors like myself, are looking for. We're looking for longer term plays. So a shorter answer would be the pandemic hasn't disrupted as much as I thought in terms of venture investing, but I think that's a good thing, because it means people are optimistic that there are long term opportunities here, and that we're still going to invest to help entrepreneurs change the world. I hope that was helpful.
That will surely turn into a podcast, I'm sure. But
Right.
really, thank you for sharing your valuable thoughts with us, and also for sharing some of the resources which we can really go back to and check, and also elaborating about your mastermind workshops. I'm sure. So the appropriate people will definitely seek your help with that. So thanks a lot, Scott.